Organs slowly age over time. This is a natural phenomenon, but nowadays, more and more young people feel a decline in memory. They are eager to update their knowledge but often feel powerless. So how does the brain's memory decline? How can we save our brain's memory? Today we are interpreting the book Save Your Memory by Daniel Amen. He was rated as America's most popular psychiatrist by the Washington Post. Dr. Amen is also the founder of the Brain Health Program. The Brain Health Program aims to prevent or treat risk factors that cause brain damage through a series of methods. In order to enhance memory, delay brain aging, and prevent Alzheimer's disease, we will interpret this book in 3 parts. 1. What does a brain with declining memory look like? 2. How is our memory formed? 3. The 4-step plan of the Brain Health Program to save memory. What does a brain with declining memory look like? Neurosurgeons have observed a large body number of human brain imaging reports found a problem. Our brains, like human faces, can show age, and many times the brain age does not match the actual age of the person. Some people may be in their 30s, but the brain looks like it's already in its 50s or 60s, while some people may be in their 50s or 60s but still have a brain that looks like it's in its 30s. In other words, a person's lifestyle habits, whether intentional or unintentional, can lead to a significant difference in brain age. An aging brain mainly has 2 manifestations from the appearance. Its volume will shrink. The gyri and sulci on the surface of the brain will become deeper and wider, just like a face full of wrinkles. Functionally, one of the main manifestations of brain aging is memory decline. What happens when a person suffers severe memory loss? We have all heard of a disease called Alzheimer's disease, commonly known as senile dementia. It is a type of degenerative disease of the nervous system. It is a kind of brain aging. Patients with Alzheimer's disease will gradually lose memory of past events. In the later stages, they may even forget their family members or themselves. How common is dementia? Data shows that globally about every 7 seconds a person is diagnosed with dementia. In the United States, about 15% of people will develop Alzheimer's disease in the future. Currently, there is no specific medicine for this kind of disease in the medical field, and nerve cells are a type of non-renewable cells. Therefore, prevention is more important than treatment, and the earlier this action is initiated, the better the effect. No matter how old we are now, even if we are 30 or 40 years old, we need to start taking brain memory and health issues seriously. How is our memory formed? Our memory formation process mainly consists of 3 stages, including encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is the first step in memory formation. It needs the brain to give some meaning to the experience in order to happen. For example, can you remember what you were doing on March 19th last year? I think you definitely can't remember because that day might not have any meaning to you, but do you remember your first day at work? I think you definitely remember because that day was meaningful to you. So when we give certain things some meaning, we can remember it better and can keep the memory for a longer time. Storage is the second step in memory formation. The brain cannot store memory fragments completely in one place like a camera. The brain divides the memory into different fragments, then disperses them to different parts of the brain. For example, when you watch a video, the sound is stored in one area, color is stored in another area, and the image is stored in another area. So this leads to some errors in the brain's memory retrieval process. The brain retrieves memory by extracting it from different areas and then reconstructing it. It is not like playing back a movie, but more like some kind of creative imagination. So for a memory, the longer you store it, the less accurate the reconstruction theoretically becomes. It is very likely to mix last year's and the year before's events into a new event. If we want to remember certain things intentionally, we need to keep retrieving the memory, repeatedly stimulating it. This way, the memory will be remembered more accurately. The Brain Health Program's 4-step plan to save memory. Next, let's look at how to save memory and protect our brains. The first step of the Brain Health Program's 4-step plan is to understand the risk factors. The first step of the Brain Health Program's 4-step plan is to understand the risk factors. Most diseases in the world have a characteristic called latency. For example, a person suddenly has a stroke. If you trace back, he usually has had years or even decades of bad lifestyle habits, such as smoking and drinking, and the stroke is actually just the final onset of the disease. So if we want to be healthy no matter what kind of disease, we should first focus on the risk factors that lead to these diseases. The same principle: if we want to have good memory and a healthy brain, we first need to understand all the factors that could damage the brain's memory and health, and then tackle them one by one. This book lists 11 risk factors that damage brain memory. 1. Blood flow. Dr. Amen once treated a patient. He was an entrepreneur who owned 7 car sales companies. 2 years before he went to see Dr. Amen, he had a very serious car accident. In the accident, he lost consciousness and stopped breathing 3 times. Fortunately, He survived, but his memory became worse and worse. His behavior also changed from before he started drinking heavily and became more and more anxious. Then he started to have insomnia. Through a brain blood flow test, Dr. Amen found that his overall brain blood flow was significantly reduced, and low brain blood flow is a primary indicator of whether a person will have severe memory problems. Why is blood flow important? For example, nerve cells are like crops in the field, and blood flow is like the irrigation channels for the crops. If there is not enough water, the crops will naturally wither slowly, so taking care of blood vessels and blood flow is like taking care of the irrigation channels for the crops, because the heart controls the blood throughout the body. So anything good for the heart is definitely good for the brain. Anything bad for the heart is definitely bad for the brain. Among the reasons for reduced brain blood flow, some are very familiar to us, such as high blood pressure, arteriosclerosis, high cholesterol, etc. But there are 2 points we might never have heard of. First, hypoxia. The hypoxia mentioned here is what Dr. Amen discovered during the treatment of patients. Many people have experienced intentional suffocation. The most common one is holding your breath to dive. Many swimming enthusiasts have tried this behavior. Short-term breath-holding diving may not have a significant impact on people, but if you do this often in the long run, it may cause premature brain aging and leave hidden dangers for future dementia. Second, lack of exercise. Dr. Amen found if an 80-year-old man walks at a speed of 1.6 kilometers per hour, the possibility of him living to 90 years old is only 10%, but if he can speed up his walking, increase his speed to 5.6 kilometers, the possibility of him living to 90 years old increases to 84%. So as we age, the faster we walk, the longer we live. Our thinking will also be more agile. The slower we walk, our thinking ability will also be slower. 2. Aging. Aging is the biggest risk factor for memory loss and Alzheimer's disease. Although each of us will age as we grow older, we have ways to delay aging. Dr. Amen compared the brain images of 2 people. One is a 55-year-old man. He never cared about anything related to brain health, so he started to show mild memory impairment and depression at 55. The other is an 80-year-old female doctor. She has always been concerned about her brain health. At 80, she still practices medicine regularly and plays tennis. After comparing the brain scans of these 2 people, Dr. Amen found that the 80-year-old female doctor's brain was significantly better than the 55-year-old man who didn't pay attention to health. The mechanism of cell aging is mainly related to the following points. First, related to mitochondrial health. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of brain cells, mainly responsible for converting oxygen into energy in the form of ATP. ATP is a key enzyme that improves body metabolism. When mitochondrial efficiency is low or lost, people will feel tired, have brain fog, feel they are getting old. What is brain fog? It's like a person's brain is shrouded in fog, making it difficult to form clear thoughts and memories. Studies show when a person's age increases from their 30s to their 70s, mitochondrial efficiency drops by half. This explains why dementia and Parkinson's disease often occur in old age. Another factor related to cell aging is called telomeres. Telomeres are a small outer shell at the ends of chromosomes. In 2003, scientists discovered people with longer telomeres live longer than those with shorter telomeres. So the question arises, what wears down our telomeres, making them shorter? If a person smokes, frequently consumes carbonated drinks for a long time, ingests trans fats, these behaviors will shorten telomeres. Another factor affecting aging is social isolation. Each of us has a social attribute, and this attribute is engraved in our genes, so when a person feels lonely and isolated for a long time, their aging speed will increase significantly. 3. Genetic studies show if a person's parents or siblings have Alzheimer's disease, the person's probability of developing Alzheimer's disease will be 3 times higher than that of ordinary people. If both parents have Alzheimer's disease, their children's probability will be 10 to 12 times higher than that of ordinary people. Although we can't change the genetic risk factors, we can know them in advance through gene testing and then take preventive measures as early as possible. 4. Sleep. Dr. Amen pointed out forgetting is a process of brain metabolism. When we sleep, the brain will metabolize the unnecessary memories accumulated during the day and store useful memories, so sleep quality has a great impact on memory. Studies show people who sleep less than 7 hours a night, their brains show signs of rapid aging. If a person has sleep apnea, which is also called snoring, it will also accelerate brain aging. 5. Inflammation. Inflammation has a great impact on the brain. Why does a person have inflammation? When the immune system detects a pathogen, it will launch an inflammatory response. Although the immune system launches an inflammatory response to eliminate the pathogen, but it also causes damage to the body's own cells and tissues. Once the immune system is too sensitive, it will cause some confusion, mistaking its own tissue for a pathogen and attacking it. For example, lupus erythematosus, and multiple sclerosis studies show people who often get inflamed their probability of developing Alzheimer's disease is much higher than that of ordinary people. How to reduce inflammation in daily life? First, control food and diet such as less red meat, fried food, high sugar food. Increase the proportion of green vegetables, fruits, nuts. Second, control stress. Dr. Amen pointed out when people feel angry, stressed, their bodies will produce many stress hormones causing blood sugar and blood pressure to rise. Long-term stress will cause chronic inflammation. Third, regular checkups. Chronic diseases such as diabetes and obesity may also cause inflammation. 6. Toxins. Dr. Amen pointed out in clinical treatment, people often ignore a point whether a person's body has accumulated toxins. Why do some people's brain age significantly faster than others? It is probably because they have absorbed too many toxins. Where do toxins come from? There are many sources including polluted air, water, plastic containers for food, alcohol, pesticides, excessive consumption of animal fats. Toxins can cause serious damage to the brain, leading to early aging and degeneration. In some cases, can even lead to dementia and other serious diseases. Studies show the brains of people who often drink alcohol have severe shrinkage and low blood flow. If there is lead exposure, the intelligence level will also be lower. The best way to deal with toxins is to avoid exposure. For example, avoid plastic containers for food, eat more green vegetables and fruits, reduce the consumption of alcohol and animal fats. 7. Mental health problems. Mental health problems will significantly affect the brain, such as depression, anxiety, etc. Studies show people with depression, their hippocampus size is smaller than that of ordinary people. The hippocampus is the main area of memory storage and formation, so mental health problems will directly affect memory. Dr. Amen once treated a female patient. She was very depressed at the time. Her memory and attention were severely impaired. After a brain scan, he found that her hippocampus was significantly smaller than that of ordinary people. After a period of medication and cognitive therapy, her depression was controlled. Her hippocampus also returned to normal size. So if a person has mental health problems, it must be treated as soon as possible. 8. Hormonal problems. Dr. Amen pointed out hormones have a great impact on memory. One is insulin. Insulin is secreted by the pancreas. Its main function is to regulate blood sugar levels. If a person has diabetes or insulin resistance, the brain will be damaged because the brain needs glucose as energy. If the insulin level is too high or too low, will affect the brain's energy supply, leading to memory impairment. Another important hormone is thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone is secreted by the thyroid gland. It has a great impact on the brain. Thyroid hormone can regulate the metabolism rate of brain cells. If the thyroid hormone is too high or too low, will affect memory. Studies show people with hyperthyroidism, their probability of developing Alzheimer's disease is 3 times higher than that of ordinary people. Another important hormone is estrogen. Estrogen is a female hormone. It can protect the brain from aging. Studies show postmenopausal women, their probability of developing Alzheimer's disease is significantly higher than that of premenopausal women because their estrogen level drops significantly after menopause. So if a person has hormonal problems, it must be treated as soon as possible. 9. Head trauma. Dr. Amen pointed out head trauma is a very common cause of brain aging and memory impairment. No matter how serious the head trauma is, even a slight concussion will have a great impact on the brain. Studies show people who have had head trauma, their probability of developing Alzheimer's disease is 3 times higher than that of ordinary people. If a person has had multiple head traumas, their probability of developing Alzheimer's disease will be even higher. Dr. Amen once treated a professional football player. He had a history of multiple head traumas. At the age of 35, he started to have memory impairment. After a brain scan, Dr. Amen found that his brain had severe shrinkage and low blood flow. So if a person has had head trauma, it must be treated as soon as possible. 10. Diet. Dr. Amen pointed out diet has a great impact on memory. Studies show people who eat high sugar, high fat, high-calorie diets, their probability of developing Alzheimer's disease is significantly higher than that of ordinary people because these diets can cause obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, leading to reduced brain blood flow and inflammation. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must control their diet, eat more green vegetables, fruits, nuts, reduce the consumption of red meat, fried food, high-sugar food. 11. Negative thinking. Dr. Amen pointed out negative thinking has a great impact on memory. Studies show people who often think negatively, their probability of developing Alzheimer's disease is significantly higher than that of ordinary people because negative thinking can cause stress and inflammation, leading to reduced brain blood flow and memory impairment. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must avoid negative thinking, think positively and optimistically. The second step of the Brain Health Program's 4-step plan is to develop good habits. Dr. Amen pointed out good habits can significantly improve memory and brain health. He lists 12 good habits. 1. Regular exercise. Studies show regular exercise can significantly improve memory and brain health because exercise can increase brain blood flow and oxygen supply, promote the growth of new nerve cells, reduce inflammation and stress. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must exercise regularly. 2. Healthy diet. Studies show a healthy diet can significantly improve memory and brain health because a healthy diet can provide the brain with enough nutrients and energy, reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must eat a healthy diet. 3. Adequate sleep. Studies show adequate sleep can significantly improve memory and brain health because sleep can help the brain metabolize unnecessary memories, store useful memories, reduce inflammation and stress. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must get enough sleep. 4. Mental exercise. Studies show mental exercise can significantly improve memory and brain health because mental exercise can stimulate the brain, promote the growth of new nerve cells, improve the efficiency of neural connections. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must do mental exercise. 5. Positive thinking. Studies show positive thinking can significantly improve memory and brain health because positive thinking can reduce stress and inflammation, improve brain blood flow and oxygen supply. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must think positively. 6. Social interaction. Studies show social interaction can significantly improve memory and brain health because social interaction can stimulate the brain, reduce stress and inflammation, improve brain blood flow and oxygen supply. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must interact with others. 7. Stress management. Studies show stress management can significantly improve memory and brain health because stress management can reduce stress and inflammation, improve brain blood flow and oxygen supply. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must manage their stress. 8. Avoid toxins. Studies show avoiding toxins can significantly improve memory and brain health because avoiding toxins can reduce brain damage and inflammation, improve brain blood flow and oxygen supply. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must avoid toxins. 9. Regular checkups. Studies show regular checkups can significantly improve memory and brain health because regular checkups can detect and treat diseases early, reduce brain damage and inflammation, improve brain blood flow and oxygen supply. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must have regular checkups. 10. Good relationships. Studies show good relationships can significantly improve memory and brain health because good relationships can reduce stress and inflammation, improve brain blood flow and oxygen supply. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must maintain good relationships. 11. Continuous learning. Studies show continuous learning can significantly improve memory and brain health because continuous learning can stimulate the brain, promote the growth of new nerve cells, improve the efficiency of neural connections. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must keep learning. 12. Meaningful work. Studies show meaningful work can significantly improve memory and brain health because meaningful work can stimulate the brain, reduce stress and inflammation, improve brain blood flow and oxygen supply. So if a person wants to have good memory and a healthy brain, they must do meaningful work. The third step of the Brain Health Program's 4-step plan is to develop a personalized plan. Dr. Amen pointed out everyone's brain is different, so the brain health plan must be personalized. He suggests starting with a brain scan, understand the brain structure and function, then develop a personalized brain health plan based on the brain scan results and personal conditions such as diet, exercise, sleep, mental exercise, etc. The fourth step of the Brain Health Program's 4-step plan is to regularly review and adjust the plan. Dr. Amen pointed out the Brain Health Plan is not fixed, it needs to be adjusted regularly based on personal conditions and brain changes. He suggests reviewing the Brain Health Plan every 3 months. Adjust the plan according to the review results, such as increasing exercise intensity, adjusting diet structure, improving sleep quality, etc. In conclusion, the Brain Health Program's 4-step plan is a comprehensive brain health management plan. It can help people prevent brain aging and memory impairment, improve brain health and quality of life. Whether you want to prevent brain aging or want to improve brain health and memory, you can try this plan, but remember, the brain health plan must be personalized based on personal conditions and brain changes. Make adjustments in time in order to achieve the best effect.